perform, I guess, to the ability and the level that he believes he can and his team do. But a win is a win, and Kevin Barry has been pretty calm throughout. It'll be interesting to hear what he has to say afterwards. Were the tactics just to stay away and win on points? And
this is Razvan Cojanu. This is when he fought Joseph Parker last year before Joseph Parker went on to fight Anthony Joshua. He's going to be fighting Luis Ortiz, and Luis Ortiz's return bout since being stopped by Deontay Wilder back in March. It's going to be on the undercard of Mikey Garcia versus Robert Easter. And basically, that is the card. It's the co-feature. I mean, you know, it's a comeback fight after being stopped, and looking at, you know, the landscape. There's not too many, you know, big names out there, but a lot of heavyweights would be crucified, you know, if they fought someone of the level of Cojanu in their first fight back. I mean, you know, I understand he wants to get a win under his belt and, you know, stay busy, and, you know, he just got stopped, whatever. But moving on, it's going to be interesting to see what he does in the future. See, I've been a Luis Ortiz supporter. You know, I didn't like that Malik Scott fight. I was really, really pissed off with that. I was upset, you know, with the failed drug test. But see, what I've learned over the years is you have to really be careful when, you know, talking about PEDs and alleged, you know, steroid use. So I've talked about it way too much. As it stands right now, he's a clean fighter. I do believe that he did have hypertension and high blood pressure. But however, that drug, I don't want to talk about it anymore. There's been rumors trickling around that Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 2 can happen, and it can happen on pay-per-view. Now, would you pay for it? Would you pay to see Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 2? Let's say they did an announcement in a press conference, and it's like a high, you know, Showtime can throw on some really, really good press conferences. It's like a high, you know, in press conference where they got on the suits and it's a major presentation, you know, and they unveil their late summer fall lineup, and then they say, you know, and we're going to give you, you know, Wilder versus Ortiz 2 on pay-per-view because it was so good the first time that this time these fighters, you know, deserve to fight on a bigger scale. And I don't know. Now, obviously, you know, sometimes people forget that I say it in all my videos. My job is to buy the fights. I'm going to buy the fights. It's my job, you know, to be able to give you high-quality content. For example, right now, it's July the 21st, 2018. Time is exactly 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I paid $10 again for this Cloud TV service to watch Usyk versus Garcia. You know, when people say you can just stream that shit, it's not about that, right? But it's a hard sell, especially when the first fight ended in a stoppage, even though it was a close fight. And can Luis Ortiz, given a second chance, can he stop Deontay Wilder this time around? Because, see, Wilder has said himself many, many times he can be losing every round of each fight. But that wild, awkward shit, that windmill, you know, they call him Windmill Wilder, that shit, and I'm not joking, you know, that shit will fuck you up. You know, he'll be getting fucked up, you know, on the ropes or something, you know, and then, you know, he just need one of them, and he be hitting you with this shit, you know, and he's like bionic now because he got fucking, you know, plates and rebar and all that shit in his arm after he had surgery. So now, kind of like Kell Brook eye sockets, he can't break his hand again, you know. So I'm guessing that Wilder, in his case, he doesn't really have too many options. You know, see, they can always go. People don't understand the Dominic Breazeale route. He is the mandatory. He's got to get his shot one day. But the thing is, understand that I really don't think that Showtime wants that fight. You know, they want to do everything in their power for Wilder not to fight him. You got to think they got to sell these fights to fans for subscriptions. People think, oh, well, Wilder can just go fight Breazeale. You know, and he has to go fight Brazil. They forget that these networks are looking like, yo, man, motherfuckers really don't want to see that shit. Is there somebody else available? Nah, you know, so they got to say, well, you know, he got to defend this belt, but we can't squeeze another, maybe Luis Ortiz. A rematch on pay-per-view is better than Brazil, you know? How do you look at it? But let's go look at Razvan Cojanu. I remember the press conference I watched for him and Joseph Parker was like in like a Mitsubishi dealership or some shit. 16-3 with 9 KOs. His last fight was against Joseph Parker. Wait, Joseph Parker went on to fight Huey Fury after this, correct? Correct. It was a very, 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 very nasty fight. You know, very, very, very nasty fight. And if you look at his resume, do you know any of these names? Nothing there. But, you know, he's getting that co-feature status. I hope he doesn't come in there scared of Luis Ortiz. You know, damn near 6'8". I hope he don't come in there scared. You know, nobody really know how old Luis Ortiz is. Some say he's 45. I say he's somebody popping. That's probably why he keep, like, you know, the baby face so the gray stubble don't come in, you know, and people be like, aha, you old motherfucker. But then, you know, for me, it's say 40. It's say 40. You know, so he can pass for 39, right? I was at his birthday party, his little birthday thing over here in the States last year, and I was interviewing him, and I'm like, damn, man, motherfucker, you ain't no motherfucking 37. You somebody pop. you like, you know, like, I don't know. Whatever, moving on. You know, a lot of people don't give Deontay Wilder credit for fighting him, especially after the steroid allegations, because people can use that to avoid you and say, I don't know, man, you know, he could probably hurt me in here. He's on the juice. But he brought that shit that last fight. But now, at this point in time in his career, where does he go, you know? Does he really have 2 years, you know, at this point in time in the heavyweight landscape to be able to get, you know, back in the mix? For example, let's go look at it. Right now, he's got a nice little, you know, way he's got to get back up because Anthony Joshua has 3 titles, right? You got Alexander Povetkin, who's getting his shot. Big Baby Miller will likely get a title shot before Luis Ortiz unless it's a Wilder rematch, right? You got Kubrat Pulev, who will likely be taking on Huey Fury for that belt. You know, would Luis Ortiz go that part? But he's not even ranked by the IBF at this point in time. Like, how long would it take for him if he doesn't get the Wilder rematch to get back in contention, you know, for a shot? It'll be about 2 years or so. Even Brian Jennings, if he beats Dimitrenko, his next fight will likely be an eliminator, possibly, to be the WBO mandatory. So, you know, I'm trying to figure out where he can go. Gerald Miller is going this WBA winner of Char versus Oquendo. And then with Eddie Hearn, Matchroom USA in the zone, they're going to, you know, do some, you know, maneuvering, some finessing to make sure that Gerald Miller, if he wins his next 2 fights for that basically the WBA route is going to be tied up for about another year and a half, maybe about a year and a half or so. You know, so where does Luis Ortiz fit, you know, in? The only route that seems logical for him to stay on would be this WBC route. And with the WBC route, at least you know he's got to be in strict drug testing. See, here's how it works. I've learned that once you get popped once by the WBC and they reinstate you, not only are you doing VADA, but you're doing extra precautionary like drug testing too. So guys like Luis Ortiz and Alexander Povetkin are in, you know, the best possible drug testing you can get in the sport right now. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people don't talk about that, but that has to be respected. So I've learned that, you know, that let's say, for example, some guys have said, well, you know, even though I'm ranked, they haven't, you know, like shown up to test me. But then if you fail, you know, and you come back, then you're getting tested a lot. And then the fighters who fight you will want you to be under extra tests as well. So these fighters are clean, you know. So, you know, I mean, looking at it from, you know, that standpoint, it's a shame to say, but if he don't get Wilder again, where is Luis Ortiz going to go? You know, what route is he going to, you know, take? You know, Deontay Wilder said on the Dan Rayfield show on ESPN Plus is that they're working on something really big. And I'm thinking if it's not Joshua, you know, then, well, we know it's not Joshua. We know it's not Joshua. Then it's not Tyson Fury. If it's not Tyson Fury, looking at these names, what's big? Could he, you know, be positioning? I'm going to save it for another video, but could he be positioning to fight the winner of the World Boxing Super Series? You know, if they move up, you know, or he's been talking about moving back down. You know, he weighed 214, about 215 for his last fight against Luis Ortiz. Could he move, not back down, but could he move down to cruiserweight, you know, and drop 15, 16 pounds, fight down there? You know, the winner of that, get a chance to fight for 4 belts. Well, you know, it's options. It's options. I'm TstreeT Controversy. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. Please subscribe.